Hey families, I'm Steve Pond, principal at Peak Charter. I'm so excited that you're here tonight. We're going to get things rolling in about 7 minutes. Thanks for being here early with me. We are going to get things going. And if you have any questions, our fabulous school ambassador, Jen Hankins, is going to be monitoring the chat screen. So please go ahead and type those in and she will answer them as quickly as she can. I'll be back live in just a few minutes. Thank you all so much for joining us and tuning in. We're going to get things going in about 3.5 minutes. Thanks for being here early. My name is Steve Pond. I have the immense pleasure of being the principal here at Peak, and I'm excited to share all about how your family can join ours. So we'll get rolling in just a few minutes. Grab that cup of coffee or that snack and come back to us about 6:30, and we're going to get things rolling. Well, thank you so much for being here. We are going to get things rolling. If you've just joined the production, my name is Steve Pond. I have the pleasure of being the principal at Peak Charter Academy. This is our 5th year as a school and my 6th year at Peak, as I had the opportunity to spend the year prior to our opening getting the school ready. So tonight we are going to talk about how your family can join ours and share a bit of basic information with you about Peak Charter Academy. Our school ambassador, Jen, is in the chat room and she can answer any questions that you have for that. And if you have any other specific questions about your family or your child, please don't hesitate to email us, as we don't want to talk about things that are personal to you in the open chat forum. Charter Academy is a no-cost public school. A lot of people think that charter schools are private when indeed they are public. They are public schools that report directly to the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction instead of being part of a school system or district. We are actually regarded as our own school district with one school in it, which is Peak Charter Academy. When we opened 5 years ago, we were able to do so because we are authorized by the North Carolina State Board of Education and the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, and we are supervised by the Office of Charter Schools, who oversees the over 200 charter schools within the state. So really, if all the charter schools were together in one district, it would be about the size of Wake County. Our board is a nonprofit board of directors, a 501c3 organization. They meet regularly and they oversee all of the things that are happening at Peak, make decisions about things that are happening at Peak, just like any other school board would, except for they are solely responsible for our school because we're our own district. They made the decision to partner with National Heritage Academies, which is a Michigan-based charter school education management organization. And NHA has about 99 schools now throughout the country in 9 states. We are one of them, and we have 761 students in grades kindergarten through 8. This year, we are full. In our 4th year, we became full. We opened with kindergarten through 5th, and then 6th, 7th, 8th. And one of the great things you may have seen on the news this week is Wake County decided they are readjusting, reassigning, and redistricting over 3,000 children. That just hit the news yesterday. And we never do that to you at Peak. If you decide you want to come to Peak, we are a school of choice. You have chosen to be here, and you can stay as long as your child until they complete 8th grade. So you never have to worry about reassignment. It is based on an application to get in. Those applications are randomized in our lottery. Once you have a seat, it is yours. I mentioned National Heritage Academies. National Heritage Academies is located in Grand Rapids, Michigan. They build, manage, and operate kindergarten through 8th grade charter schools throughout the country, all of which are public and all of which are authorized in North Carolina by the State Board of Education and the Department of Public Instruction, and in other states by whatever entity the authorizer is. For example, in Michigan, each charter school has to have a local college or university who is their operating authorizer. NHA has 99 schools at this time, with more opening. They're located in 9 states, and we support over 60,000 scholars throughout our schools. So it's a really fabulous organization, and every single one of these schools is run by their own board of directors who partners with NHA. A little bit about Peak. If you're new to the area or don't know much about us, Peak opened in 2017-18. This is our 5th year of operation, and we've gotten some incredible recognitions due to the amazing work of our scholars, our families, and our educators. We were named the best public school by Carey Magazine and won those 3 Maggie Awards you see in the middle of the screen in the last 3 years. And also in our 2nd year as a school, we became rated an A school by the state of North Carolina based on our school performance, and we got the Exceeds Growth Award. So in our 1st year, we opened with a high B, and we met growth, which is incredibly difficult to do, as we were a brand new school with students from over 40 different schools, as well as teachers from all over the place, and we still met state growth requirements and made that B. And in the 2nd year, our student and faculty performance helped us grow to be one of those A schools, top 5 or 6% in North Carolina, but also a school that exceeded the growth expectations of Peak. And we continue to do that. Even during the pandemic, our students and our teachers worked incredibly hard, and we were rated by our performance data as having the 32nd best elementary school in the state and the 23rd best middle school. And because we are a district in ourselves, we were rated the number 6 district across the state of North Carolina based on our school performance. Now, you may have heard that the state did not issue report cards last year to publicize those things, but they did have all of the state tests and all of the testing for kindergarten through second grade. And they still made us take those tests, and we still had the data, and it counted. So we can share all that wonderful data with you that only shows that even through an incredibly terrible pandemic, our staff and our students still worked as hard as they could. They were still performing. And that's one of the things that helped make us Hulafrog's most loved charter school in the region for each of the last 3 years. Now, the blue boxes are something really, really cool I want to share with you. There's an organization called Houghton Mifflin and another called Harcourt. Those are book publishers that I had and you may have used in your schooling, but Houghton Mifflin, Harcourt have merged, and they also are managing an organization called the International Center for Leadership in Education. And each year, that organization names a handful of schools as national model schools. And in both 2020 and 2021, Peak was named a national model school for the incredible work that our students and faculty are doing in the area of academic success and growth. And we focus on differentiated instruction at Peak. So our goal is to help determine where your child's learning level is at and to help them grow and thrive from that point. And it's a really cool opportunity to be named one of 16 model schools in the nation this year and one of 15 last year. And even though there wasn't a pandemic, we still went last year and recorded sessions for the online National Model Schools Conference so we could share all the great things our students and our faculty are doing here at Peak with schools across the world. And this year we were invited to Nashville, Tennessee to speak a couple different sessions at the National Model Schools Conference. And it was really great to collaborate and connect with lots of school leaders from all over the world to share what we're doing and how amazing our teachers and our staff are. Another cool thing is on newsstands now, if you're in grocery stores, libraries, wherever you may shop, you may know of Carey Magazine. And I mentioned the 3 Maggie Awards that we've gotten in each of the last 3 years in those 2 categories. But this month is their annual Excellence in Education edition. So if you pick up that winter edition of Carey Magazine, you'll see an article in there about Peak Charter Academy in the Excellence in Education section. So next time you're at the store, please pick that up and read a little bit more about Peak. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you had about that. So one of the really cool things about NHA, as I mentioned, is 99 schools across the country. They all have the very same mission, which is incredibly simple, but incredibly powerful. We challenge each child to achieve. And that's what led us, when we opened Peak Charter Academy, to focus on differentiated and tiered or leveled instruction. We want to pre-assess our students to see what they know. So at the beginning of a unit or a chapter or a quarter, we may see what your children know about the standards that we're going to teach, so we can determine, are they a child who needs a lot of support and foundation building? Are they a child who is already pretty proficient but has some gaps to fill? Or are they a child who needs to be challenged and enriched because they already know what they're supposed to know about those standards? So all of our classes and experiences are tiered and differentiated, which helps us to focus on growth rather than proficiency. Because I believe, as an educator in my 22nd year, that if we challenge each child to grow, they're going to become proficient. But if all we do is challenge them to reach proficiency, which in the state of North Carolina, getting that 3 on your state test usually means you had between mid and high 40% correct. If I told you that all you had to do is get a 43 or a 45 or 47 to pass a test, that wouldn't be too impressive. So we don't aim for that target of proficiency. We aim for growth and excellence and challenge and enrichment. And by doing that, we get our children to be proficient, but they also exceed growth, as we received on our last state award. Peak's mission is to develop our students to become critical thinkers and eager contributors, active collaborators to their learning experience, making sure that they are ready for whether it's college or the career or life. We want to make sure that we educate the whole child. And that's not only academics, it's their social development and their emotional growth. And especially having gone through this pandemic, it's a really, really important thing. And so my personal mission is to challenge each child to learn, to grow, and to thrive. And that's been my personal mission throughout each of my 22 years. And it ties in beautifully with what both NHA seeks and what we seek here at Peak Charter Academy. So one of the really cool things at Peak is most schools our size, about 760 students, would have a principal and an assistant principal. That's pretty standard model throughout public education. But one of the things that we do at Peak is, much like those of you who went and studied at colleges or universities, you may remember that your department or program head also had a dean. And so what we do at Peak is we have a 4-member administrative team, and we have a dean over each third of our school. We call them wings. We have a kindergarten through 2nd grade wing, and that's led by our K2 dean, Connie Eastman, who has a lot of professional experience in teaching in the K2 world. So she understands the needs of those primary children, and she's now getting an advanced degree to better help her support your families and your youngest children. Casey Gorman is our 3rd through 5th grade dean, and she not only has teaching experience in middle school and early elementary, but in 3rd through 5th grade as well. She also oversees our special education program for our exceptional children, and she's also pursuing advanced degrees. We believe that we need to continue to grow and educate ourselves in order to better grow and encourage that growth in our students. Reggie Pate is our middle school dean. He also works with our beginning teachers. He is a master middle school teacher, has been with us since the day we opened. He's also pursuing his advanced degree, and he's also the dean, instructional leader, coach, mentor, trainer, and what we would do normally as assistant principals. He is over our middle school. And again, my name is Steve Pond. I have the incredible privilege of being here at Peak. It's my 22nd year in education. I became an administrator in the county in 2005-06, worked for several years in assistant principal capacity, and then starting in 2009, became a principal. I've worked in public education, private education. I've worked at North Carolina State University, which was my most recent role before opening Peak in 2017. Love K through 8 education. This is where my heart and my passion are. And like all of our deans, I'm in school as well. I'm pursuing my doctorate to continue my own growth and to challenge myself. So we believe in it. We believe in growth, and we want to nurture and support that with your children as well. So I mentioned charter school before, and some of you may or may not be as familiar with how charter schools work as others. Charter schools are public schools. As I mentioned, they report directly to the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. In North Carolina, they are all authorized by the State Board of Education. So no school can be opened without being heavily vetted, evaluated, interviewed. The board of directors has a great deal of work to do before they can even be considered to open a school, as ours was. And we're managed on a day-to-day basis by National Heritage Academies. We're overseen on a day-to-day basis by the board, and we are governed, for lack of a better word, by the State Board of Education, just as any other public school may be. So the model that we use to explain this is a house. And so the foundation of our house are the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and State Board of Education guidelines, all the state and federal laws, and the Common Core standards that every school in North Carolina has to teach. Now, one of the things I always ask families is, how many of you are not fans of Common Core? And when we're in person, we see a lot of hands go up. But when we inquire more about why we're not a fan of Common Core, it's not that we have standards to teach, it's the methods that schools take to teach them, the kooky ways to add. Instead of adding 10 plus 12, you have to drop the 2 from the 12, you have to add 10 plus 10, take the 2 and put it in a silly box, and then draw an arrow to get to it. Those are silly things that actually are instructional practices or techniques that are often rooted in the publishers who create the books that they sell to school systems. And they have to make their book look different from somebody else's book. So they come up with silly things, and they give them trademark names like scratch math or other techniques that you can use. Now, it's a great technique, just as the old school way of saying 0 plus 2 is 2, 1 plus 1 is 2, 10 plus 12 is 22. That's the way I learned to add growing up. Each book will do something different to teach you. And when you're in a county that uses a specific book, that's really the only way that you're allowed to teach addition. Whereas at Peak, we have lots of different ways that we teach, and we want our children to have as many tools in their tool chest as they can, and we're not locked into one specific way because we've licensed our instruction to a particular publisher. So we teach the Common Core standards just like the other 42 or 43 states that agreed to teach them, and all those are is uh, a set of criteria at each grade level that we're going to teach in each content area. And a comparison would be how all of us who are adults in the room learned how to drive. There are a very similar set of standards for driving, no matter what state you're in. And if you're in North Carolina where you got your license, everybody learns and has to demonstrate the same standard, much like Common Core standards in the classroom. But I learned how to drive by going to the parking lot at the mall by my house when I was younger. A friend of mine who I was in college with learned how to drive by driving her grandfather's tractor around their fields out in Johnston County. Two very different ways to learn the same standard. And so that's what we do. We teach the standard, but we have a variety of skills and methods to do that that are tied in with our differentiated and tiered instruction. We want to figure out how your child learns best, whether they're an auditory learner, a visual learner, a kinesthetic or hands-on learner, and we teach them the way that they learn best so they can learn and they can grow and they can thrive. So that's the foundation of everything we do. The 4 columns you see are actually the 4 pillars of NHA, of National Heritage Academy schools. I mentioned we have 99 schools now. These 4 pillars are the exact same thing in every one of our schools. Moral focus is our ingrained character development and education program. It is a secular character development program, but unlike in other schools where I've worked and systems where I've worked, we used to just get an email or get a flyer in our box that said, this month's virtue is kindness. Make sure you post it on your bulletin board. So people take the paper, they stick it on their bulletin board, and they take it down when next month is. We actually have a character education class period, a moral focus class period every single day at Peak. We start our day with it. After homeroom, when we take attendance and we see who's buying lunch that day, we go right into moral focus. And that's important. It's the most important part of who we are as people and who we are, how we are developing our students is their moral compass. And so moral focus is that character development that is a very important focused part of our day. Parent partnership is another pillar. Because of COVID, we're not having a lot of folks in and out of our building, but parent partnership is huge at Peak. We want to partner with you. I know one of the things before I came to Peak, the school that my child was at, their parent engagement and their parent interest had really started to wane each of the last couple of years. And they weren't inviting parents in to volunteer, and they weren't inviting parents to chaperone or help out. And when they were doing workshop-based small group instruction like we do, they weren't inviting parents to come on in and be one of those station leaders to help children to grow and enjoy what they were doing. Parent partnership is the opposite here at Peak. We want you and we need you here to support your child and to support and partner with our teachers. It's really, really important because it shows your child that their home and their school are together, and that will help them when you're supporting them at home and we're supporting them at school. It'll really help them to feel more confident and to develop much stronger skills and knowledge base at school. Academic excellence is all about what we do here at Peak differently. I've already mentioned differentiated and tiered instruction. I mentioned a few seconds ago the workshop model in which we are doing station-based activities, which are differentiated for each of the small groups within our classrooms. Kindergarten through second grade students stay in the classroom with one teacher all day, but they are still tiered and differentiated based on their learning needs or for enrichment or challenge, or their needs for support and foundation building. So they may be in different small groups for math and with different students in English, and again, another small group with different learners in their science or social studies lessons. And within those activities, they're going to be met at their current learning level with the focus of growing them to a higher level of knowledge and understanding. And we talk a lot more about that in April. We have a whole meeting all about the academic program and what makes it so unique. It's been my professional area of interest, being differentiated instruction, from my second year of teaching. So 2001-2 school year was when I really got interested in differentiation. And even though schools and districts often have some shiny new toy or buzzword that they play with every year. This year, we're using manipulatives. This year, we're studying how to help students who have this kind of challenge. This year, it's differentiation. Those of you who are educators may remember that every year or two, the school or the school system may move on and grab that new shiny new toy as we look at this year at Christmas. But we focus on differentiating tier instruction, and it drives everything we do. When we tier or level instruction and challenge our students to grow, the students that we serve have no other choice but to become more successful. And so that's what we do. And that's what we have spoken about at the Model Schools Conference in 2018-19. When we were named a model school, we did the video presentation in 2020. And this past year, we went and we spoke in person and taught other schools how we do it and how we achieve the successes that we have been able to help our students rise to meet those challenges. We've also shared these attributes about our school and the uniqueness of our school at the North Carolina Charter Schools Conference. It's been great to share with other people because we want to shout it from the mountaintops how well our students enjoy being at Peak and how well they succeed. So those are the four pillars, the fourth being student responsibility. We want our students to make sure that they know there are choices. They can do their work or not do their work, but there's a natural consequence with both. If they do it, they learn, they grow, and they're more successful and knowledgeable. If they don't, they may have an academic consequence, but they also stifle the opportunity for their learning. We also are a positive behavior intervention and support school. So we want to train our students. We teach them expectations from a positive point of view. We don't stand in the hallway and point and say, stop running. We ask our students, hey, please walk in the hall. We teach them everything we want them to do from a positive expectation. So it's a really great opportunity. So those four columns or pillars are in place at every NHA school throughout the country. And then the roof of the house looks different. Many of you have probably flown into RDU International Airport, and you know there's a lot of different subdivisions that have popped up over the last 20 or 30 years. What you may notice is that while the houses are the same, the roofs look a lot different. Some may be bluish, some may be orange, some are black, some are gray. They're all different, even if the houses are pretty much identical. Same thing with schools. So our roof on our house is made up of what we call the Peak Triangle. And those are the things I mentioned earlier, the academic components, the social components, and the emotional components. And so especially during the last 21 months, we've really been focusing a lot on the social and emotional wellness of our students while maintaining the emphasis on being a high quality academic program and providing those wonderful learning and growing experiences for your children. Academics are what we do as a school, so that's the foundation of the triangle. But those three things are equally important to us because we want to support your child in all areas of their lives. And then the sun shining over the house is our Peak Board of Directors. Again, they're a nonprofit 501c3 organization. They hold the charter to run Peak Charter Academy, not National Heritage Academies. NHA is a partner of our board, and we are all governed by the Board of Directors under the oversight of the State Board of Education and the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. So that's a little summary of how charter schools work and specifically how we operate and function at Peak. So again, charters are open to every student who resides in North Carolina. We've had students come from as far as Johnston County, Alamance County, which if you're not familiar is the Burlington-Mebane area. We are public schools. There are no costs. We are held more accountable, I feel, in my own experience, than when I worked in two different school systems. Because in the school systems, the school is one of dozens or even hundreds of schools under one of the regional superintendents who may report to the associate superintendent, to the superintendent, who then may report to the state. And there's a series of steps on the ladder to report to the state. Whereas as a charter school, it's a horizontal plane. We report directly to the Department of Public Instruction and their Office of Charter Schools. And we value that accountability. We value that oversight because we want what's best for our children. We want what's best for our families and, of course, our teachers as well. We offer full comprehensive special education services. So unlike the school systems who say, if your child has this disability or learning challenge, they have to go to this school or this school. They can't go to the one that's down the street from your house that you're assigned to. Any child is welcome at Peak as long as they reside in North Carolina and they're selected through the lottery. We also offer full support for our English learners. We have an incredibly diverse student population at Peak. The last time we surveyed our families about their history and their genealogy was the November before COVID. So November of 2019. We hope to do it again very soon. But at last survey, we found that our students or parents were born in 39 different countries. And in our households, they speak 25 different languages. So one of our first year parents called us the United Nations of Peak. And that was a nice nickname. And we loved it. And we actually have it hanging on a board right outside my office with the list of all the languages and the countries of origin. And again, as a charter, we are public and we follow all state and federal guidelines. I mentioned the 4 pillars. If you have any questions about those, you can drop a question in the chat box. You can email Jen or me afterwards. We're happy to share. One of the big things I've shared a couple times is how we differentiate and tier instruction. That's a personalization that I found did not happen when I was working in various schools in 2 different counties. It's something that we did when we opened. We said, this is our commitment. We want to focus on your child, their unique abilities, their learning needs, their learning preference and style. We want to make sure that we differentiate not only the instruction, but our relationship with your child. If there's somebody that loves high fives, we're going to give them high fives. If they want a fist bump, we're going to give them a fist bump. If there's somebody that thrives on praise and words of affirmation, we're going to do that. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with a program called the 5 Love Languages. I became familiar with it years and years ago when my wife and I did it. The original program was for romantic partners or spouses. But since then, Gary Chapman partnered with an educator named D.M. Freed to write a book called The 5 Love Languages at School. And it's a secular-based program. It's not romantic love, but it's helping students and teachers identify, are they someone who likes to receive gifts? That's how they know when somebody loves them. Are they someone who favors safe touch? So that fist bump or that high five. And there's a variety there's 5 different love languages. And we do that with our students. We're actually just finishing it up right now so they can know, do they want the words of affirmation? Do they want that fist bump when they come in or that side hug? All of the different things that you can do, we want to connect with our students to differentiate our relationship and our interactions with them. I mentioned before that kindergarten through 2nd grade students stay in their same classroom with their teacher, and we differentiate and do different small groups based on their abilities and needs within the classroom. In 3rd through 8th grade, we are departmentalized. So that looks like what you and I experienced in middle and high school, where they'll have a math teacher and they'll have a science teacher and they'll have a English and social studies teacher, and they'll transition and they'll move throughout the day. So it not only builds their personal responsibility and accountability, makes them more confident learners within the school because they know how to move to different classrooms. And they're comfortable moving to different classrooms. They have relationships with different teachers. Their classes change every time they move. So they're in class with different people from their grade levels. So they really get to build those relationships. And those classes are actually differentiated based on their need. So if your child is somebody who needs that foundation building, that knowledge building in math, as I was a struggler in math. And so I'm going to be in a class where I get that additional support. I'm still learning the same exact standard as everybody else, but I'm getting taught and supported in a way that I lay the bricks for my foundation on which my future math knowledge can grow. If I'm a child who is in science and I know pretty good amount of science stuff, but there's things that I don't know, there's a leveled class for me as well. They're going to honor that I already know the foundations, but the teacher in that class is going to focus on helping me shore up the foundation to make sure that when we put the roof on, like the example I shared before, my science knowledge is stable. And then let's say I'm an English language arts learner, but I knock it out of the park. I'm already familiar and I'm a good writer and I know what the parts of speech are. And I tested really well on the end of grade test before I came to Peak. I can be in a class for English that challenges me and enriches me. Again, I'm still learning the same standards as students in the other 2 classes, but what we do is we vary the depth and the complexity of the way that we teach it and of the activities we do. So we're adjusting the rigor based on the student's need. So we make it very personalized here. We also enrich our child's education experience here at Peak. We have the same specials or electives you would find at other public schools because the state of North Carolina has learning standards identified for each of the areas of art, music, PE, and technology. So there are actual state standards that we have to teach in all of these areas. So we enrich our students by making them quarterly. Instead of, many of you may have children at other schools that have an ABCD week kind of rotation. So this week on Monday, they have art, Tuesday, they have music, Wednesday is PE, Thursday is technology, tomorrow's art again. Then next week, they would start with music, PE, technology, art, music. And it keeps going on a rotation throughout the quarter and throughout the year. One of the things that I found as a teacher and an administrator in schools that did that is it was very hard to build any consistency, and it was developing proficiency across a plane, a horizontal plane, but I saw that children were never developing high-level skills by doing all four at once and on a very basic level. And it was really hard on those music, art, PE, and technology teachers because they have to see every single child in the school every week, and they're teaching the same thing over and over. And it's really a quickie lesson that only takes 15 or 20 minutes. Pardon me. So what we do here is we teach those on a quarterly basis. So my child, for example, is here, and he'll have music every day for an academic quarter, art for a quarter, technology and PE for a quarter, PE being required by the state that every student has PE at least once. And so what we do is it's the same concept as if you go to a gym and work with a personal trainer. You could go to the gym on your own once this week on Monday. Next week you go in and it's a Tuesday. The next week would normally be a Wednesday, but you had a dinner with friends, so you skipped Wednesday, just like kids might have a field trip day or a snow day. And by the end of that 45 days, you might have only seen that gym 5, 6, 7 times, just like your child in an ABCD rotation might have only seen the music teacher 4 or 5 times, or had PE 6 times, but only had art 3 times because every time they had art, we had a inclement weather day, or they had a field trip, or it was a school holiday because those fall mostly on Mondays and Fridays. And so we want to enrich our children by doing it for 45 straight days in each content area. And it would be like if you worked with a personal trainer every day for 45 straight days, you would be pretty good physical shape, just like your children are in pretty good music shape, art shape, technology. They have buffed up in those areas, and we do performances. Every quarter we do the Fine Arts Night. And so we have music performances. We have an art walk where we turn the entire first floor of the school into an art gallery. And we have parent volunteers that come in and they mat 1, 2, 3 samples of every student who's taken art's work. They put their name on it and their age on it, and we put them all over the hallway, and we open it up to you to come do a gallery walk. And then for those parents who have students who are in music, after the gallery walk, you can stay and see the performances. And so we'll do that for kindergarten through second grade, for third through fifth, and for middle school, so we can celebrate their accomplishments for 45 days of learning in that enrichment area. Those same areas are a part of our middle school as well, except for this time we really ramp it up. There's students have already done and learned the standards of elementary art by the time they got to 6th grade, the same with technology, music, and PE. So we challenge them, and we let our music, art, technology, and PE teachers change it up, and they focus on something specific. So some of the things, technology is doing video game and app design. PE is doing a personal fitness boot camp this time. Art might be doing a whole quarter worth of clay and sculpture. Music may be doing drama or instrumental music. So we really step it up and give students the opportunity to select electives that really speak to their personal passions. And also, COVID notwithstanding, we have clubs every Wednesday for kindergarten through 8th grade. We're not doing those now because we're trying not to mix our students across classrooms or grades, but we have lots and lots of clubs. So usually 20 or 30 clubs a year. They are held quarterly, so there's 6 or 7 or 8 each quarter that children can sign up for and attend. We also have middle school athletics, and we are doing that in accordance with the state guidelines. But we are doing boys and girls basketball and cheer right now. In the first quarter, the fall semester, we had girls volleyball, boys soccer, and co-ed cross country. And then in the spring, we have girls soccer. So just like any other school, we're doing the fun things to enrich our students' lives, but we really feel the way we're doing it is both unique and better to help grow and help our students to thrive. We also want to prepare our students for college, and that ends in the elementary school. We want to make sure our students are prepared when they get to high school to accelerate and take those classes that give them that AP and college credit. So a program that we have, and there's more details about it on the school website, is called Accelerate. And we actually start that in the third grade. This year we started with math. In the future, we're going to add language, arts, and science. But I mentioned before those tiered or leveled math classes. The same thing applies in English, science. What our students can do is, based on their need for that challenge and enrichment, they can be in the accelerated course where it's not just an opportunity to learn some third grade, but they're also tying in some fourth grade standards. Then when they get to fourth grade, if they're still excelling and exceeding, they can be in the fourth, fifth grade class, in the fifth, sixth grade class, in fifth grade. So by the time they get to middle school and in eighth grade, they can take that math one or that English one or that science one that would normally be ninth grade classes or even 10th grade classes for some learners. So that way, when they hit their junior and senior year, they can bulk up on those AP classes, which will help them not only get into college with some credit already and save you as their parents money, but it will allow them to go into college and challenge. If we have students, and we know we do, that don't want to go to college, they want to go right into the career world, they already have those higher level classes and that learning out of the way, so they can master the skills needed when they graduate from high school, whether they're in a trade program, whether they're in a 2-year program added on to their high school, as many of the high schools are doing now. They can go out into the real world once they leave high school with that higher level skill and their knowledge. And that's what the Accelerate program is all about. But I mentioned before, not only are we about academics, but social and emotional development and well-being of our students are equally important, especially over these last 21 months. So we want to build the relationships and that partnership, not only with your children, but with you. Peak Cares is an organization that we want to teach outwardness and outward view for our children. We started in the very first month we were open, September of 17. You may remember that there was a terrible, terrible hurricane. It was either Matthew or Michael. It's escaping me right now, that hit Texas and devastated Texas. So our middle school students said, we really want to do something to support them. And they did a game, which is called a penny war. And students, the rule was they can only donate their own money. They couldn't say, hey, mom, hey, dad, can you write me a check? So it was giving of themselves. And each class or grade level was collecting their own money from themselves with pennies. But if you have silver colored dimes, nickels, or quarters, the game is to throw those in somebody else's bucket, because the number of pennies you have equals positive points. The number of silver colored coins you have are negative points. And so it was a competition to see who could have the finest total number. And it was a lot of fun. But the very first full month we were open, we raised close to $3,000 just by our students doing that and teaching each other throughout the school. This is what we want to do. And so every single month we've been open, we have some sort of Peak Cares initiative. For example, this month, and we've done it every year, we've been open in December, we're partnering with the Ronald McDonald House through our wonderful Peak PTO. So parents, please feel free to join that, partner with them and our teachers who are a part of that. We are serving and supporting families who are at the Ronald McDonald House because of some horrible medical tragedy or crisis that the family's experiencing at the winter holidays. It's a terrible time to be in that situation. And so our families are turning out to give specific families things that they've asked for, that they need, whether it's things like toiletries and shaving kits for moms and dads, whether it's toys for siblings who are there with their sibling who is sick or injured, whether it's things like blankets so you don't have to use the hospital blanket. We do that every year. In October, we've done things. There's a Bikes for the World initiative where we donate bikes that our children have outgrown or parents have not used anymore. They got a new bike and they're given to Bikes for the World to give to folks throughout the triangle and throughout the world, that while they may not have a car or be able to afford a car or a truck, they can get a working bike that can get them to or from work, to or from school. And we do that throughout the year. January, we usually focus on the Durham Rescue Mission. Men are the least supported group through charitable causes. It's usually children and women. So we focus on bringing in knit caps and gloves and scarves for homeless clients of the Durham Rescue Mission. And so we do this all throughout the year. And Peak Cares is really a thing. We meet with our kids. We talk with our children about it. We ask them to envision themselves in that situation. And then our PTO spearheads this, and it's just a really nice way to support what we're doing. And there's always some kind of fun thing for our kids. For example, in November, we always work with the Food Bank of Eastern and Central North Carolina. And we told our children, it was a short month. We said, if you personally donate over 500 pounds of food that we can turn around and bring before Thanksgiving, we'll give you a fun pajama day. You can wear pajamas to school. And so they almost doubled that. And then really they enjoyed Pajama Day on November 30th. But we also have a Spirit Week next week as well for all the winter themes. So we try to have a lot of fun. Next week is Winter Holiday Week. So we have a hat and sock day. On Monday, we have a pajama day for winter themed pajamas. We have a dress up as your favorite winter character day coming up. We have a regular Peak Spirit Day, which is what we do every Friday, where you can wear your Peak Spirit t-shirts or jackets with jeans instead of the uniform. So we have a good time, and we like to show a lot of care and love to each other. But as I mentioned before, we are held accountable, and we want to be accountable to you and to your children. All of our teachers are licensed, and they are here because they are licensed. Charter school law says only 75% of elementary school teachers have to be licensed, and 50% of middle school. We believe in that full certification. So teachers come on board. If teachers move to us, if they graduate from school, there may be a time where they're awaiting their license, because it's usually 6 to 8 or even 10 or 12 weeks before licenses are issued by the state. But we don't even hire somebody without knowing that they already have a license, or they've applied for their license and it's pending, but we already know they'll get approved for it. So unlike other charter schools that you can go to somebody as the principal and say, well, hey, Bill, you're my neighbor, and I know you worked at IBM and you don't have a job anymore. Come teach science for me. They have no training. They have no experience teaching or working with children. We make sure our teachers are certified and licensed, or license eligible if they're awaiting their license to be here. We have a really unique and strong interview process. As I mentioned, National Heritage Academies is our board's partner in operating the school. They provide the HR support for us. We have a talent acquisition team that, as we seek and find candidates, or they post positions and find candidates, they will do an initial screening and an interview to make sure that they are eligible to teach and have a license. They'll verify their backgrounds by a transcript review process. They'll meet and talk with them before they even send them to us. So one of the really neat things is, by the time we ever see a candidate, we know that they're already qualified to teach. Our focus is making sure they fit. So we are focused on culture and community at Peak Charter to the point where our faculty and staff have received national recognition from NHA for employee engagement and satisfaction, the way that we value and work with each other in 2019, 20, and 2020. And so that's a top 10th percentile in the country. We've also received national recognition in the last 2 years for safety, and that award was just started 2 years ago, in addition to academic excellence, enrollment, and attendance. So a lot of recognition that we're getting just for doing what we think is the right thing. So we do the right thing always, which is one of NHA's core values, and we live that here, but we hold ourselves accountable. We're not going to just hire my neighbor Bill because we need a teacher. We're going to find somebody who has the experience, the certification, the credentials to be here, and then we're going to bring them into the school, and we're going to have them teach a mini lesson in front of students. And then we ask students what they thought about the different candidates we brought in. We are going to sit and talk with them. We're going to get kind of dive deep into them, not just ask them surface level questions, because we want to see if they fit with who we are as a community. And we require and offer ongoing professional development, not only what the minimum requirement for somebody to maintain their teaching license, but in things that are specific to Peak, such as differentiated and tiered instruction, such as the 5 love languages, and all of the great things that NHA offers us related to our curriculum and instruction. I mentioned before that the deans are the administrators in each of the 3 wings. They partner with me to oversee the entire school. It is a coaching model. We're partnering with teachers to make sure that they are successful. We have a meeting every single week with our teachers. It's called an O3, a one-on-one. So each manager, me included, meets with those who report to them every single week for 30 minutes. It's a coaching feedback loop time where they can ask us questions, ask for help, ask for feedback, and we can give them feedback, and not only feedback, but coaching on how they could adapt or change or improve the area that we're talking about. But our sole goal is to meet the needs of your children and their families, because we know that Happy students lead to happy parents. Happy teachers create happy students and happy parents. So we want to partner with you together. We think of it like two mountains. One mountain is the school, one mountain's the home. The child is the bridge that spans between the two. And if either the home or the school starts to crumble, that bridge could collapse. And we don't want that for any of our students. We want to have a successful academic experience, social experience, and emotional as well. The moral focus virtues, as I mentioned earlier, a huge part of what we do. It is a scheduled part of every single day. There are 9 throughout the year. They run September through May. So when we start the last 2 weeks of August, August and September share a virtue, as do May and the first week and a half of June. We have daily activities and lessons. We have assemblies where we gather. We actually ask students to lead the assemblies. We pick different classes and the teachers work with students to teach about wisdom, to teach about self-control, which is December's. We have wing meetings, which would be kindergarten, first and second together, or individual grade levels, and they talk about it. It is an authentic, genuine part of who we are as a school. And all of that helps your student to stay engaged and connected, because when their instruction and the relationship we have with them is individualized and differentiated, they're more connected and they're more actively participating in school and in their connections with others, rather than just sitting at a desk and doing a worksheet. Student responsibility is the fourth pillar that I mentioned before. And we really want to teach our children through positive expectation teaching. As I mentioned before, we don't say, don't leave the water running in the bathroom. We say, please turn off the sink when we leave. We don't say, you better not leave paper towels on the floor. We have a sign that says, please throw trash in the trash can. And that's how we speak to each other in our community as adults and to our students in the classroom, because we want them to learn the positive, not be afraid or be fearful or be sad about the negative way that we talk to them. And those of us who are parents, I know we always try to do that with our children as well. Again, parent partnership is a huge part of what we are. Welcome here. We've set up a parent portal where you can communicate with your child's teachers. You can communicate with me, with our office staff. We have, usually we have monthly peak PTO sponsored events or spirit nights. We have, we just did one with the pizza place up the road. We've done them at restaurants. We did one the other day at Wine and Design, right up the road, where parents one of our amazing parents owns that. And they contributed back to the PTO for everybody who came, but it was a really good opportunity for people to come by and pick up, make a painting and take it home and hang it up. We want our teachers to be available. We ask our teachers and our parents to schedule 2 conferences every year, to have one in the fall between September and November and another in the spring between February and April. That's an ask of every single parent in our community. We've been doing them virtual because of COVID. If and when things improve, we'll have people back in the building. But we ask for 15 minutes of your time so we can hear from you and we can share all the great things we're seeing and experiencing with your child. Our facilities, as I mentioned, we get a lot of questions about that. We opened 5, this is our 5th year. We reached full growth 2020 before the pandemic. We have 4 sections of kindergarten, 3 of each in 1st through 8th grade. We have grown as much as we're going to grow. We're never going to be one of those overstuffed, overgrown schools in the county that have 1,100, 1,200 elementary school students within a school building. Likewise, we're never going to reassign you or shift you to another school. If you choose to be here, we welcome you here, and you're here as long as you want to be until your child reaches 8th grade, and then you go to any one of the many high schools in the area. Security is always something on, especially with the recent tragedy in Michigan. We are an incredibly secure school. We have won NHA's safety award in each of the last 2 years. It's the only 2 years that award has been offered. When you come to Peak, if you've been on a tour, you see that you have to buzz in. We have a camera there and a microphone there so we can see you and hear you and find out what your purpose is. We then buzz you into the lobby where we have a shatter-resistant glass window that we can slide open so we can talk with you. It automatically slams shut and locks and cannot be opened from the outside if there's ever an incident, which we've never had one. And you can never even enter the building nor the office from that vestibule, that lobby, until we know who you are and why you're here and we buzz you in. Even for parents that come pick up their students, we have them wait in the lobby so they don't even come into the hallway or into the office. We have cameras in every classroom, every office space, as well as all around the campus. And access is not given unless you come to that front door. We never let people in and out side doors or back doors. We don't prop doors open. It's an incredibly comfortable environment. My own child would be here. And my litmus test is not only is the environment safe for my child as every other child as it is for my child, but also when we hire teachers, I won't even hire a teacher unless I would want my son, Luke, to have that teacher for himself. So we set a pretty high bar personally, but it's what we do is the same as we would do for our child that we expect for everybody else's. Our commitment, as I mentioned before, is to develop your child. We want to teach them the value of hard work, be a good person, take personal responsibility and accountability, because our goal is not only to have good students, but great people. So that's where we can answer any questions that you have in the chat box. We are on YouTube Live, so unfortunately we can't interact with you right now. But one of the really cool things we just set up a couple of hours ago is we have scheduled meet and greets where you can come talk with Jen, talk with me. Those are going to be coming up. We'll post those on the website. There's going to be one in January, one in February, and one in March right before the lottery. And I believe they're January 25th, February 15th, and March 1st, but those will be published. I did that off the top of my head. But our very good friends at Cece's Pizza of Apex, which moved over by the Walmart Marketplace, they have a much bigger restaurant than they've had in the past. They actually are letting us come in the morning before they open. Each of them are a Tuesday. We can welcome parents to come meet me, meet Jen, talk to us, ask any questions you want to ask. And that will supplement these formal presentations with an opportunity to get one-on-one with you. Those will be posted very soon on Facebook. So please keep an eye out for that event. They'll be 9:30 to 10:30. They are not charging us a dime. They let us use the restaurant. They're wonderful people. They support Peak. And we would encourage you, hey, stick around for lunch or come back and see them another time and say thanks for being a Peak partner. But they truly are wonderful people. Edgar's great, and he loves what we do. We appreciate what he does in having us over. So if you want to talk one-on-one, there's usually a small group of people. Sometimes there are as many as 75 or 100 have shown up in the past. But we are there. We will stay until they have to open their restaurant up. And you can always follow up with us as well. But if you have not applied to Peak Charter Academy yet, please go to the website, click that big apply button at the top. You must apply by 5 o'clock on Wednesday, the 28th, 2022. If your application is in at 5:01, you are ineligible for the lottery. So it has to be in computer time stamped before 5 p.m. Please make sure you even have it in a couple minutes before, as I know some people's computers may say one time while others say another. The lottery will be held. It's actually online, just like this, through YouTube. It'll be held at 2 p.m. on Monday, March 7th. You don't have to be watching live. The lottery will run. You will know. You'll be followed up with by phone, by email, by letter in the mail. You will know your child got in or if they're on the wait list. Now, one thing we always tell people about the lottery is you will not see many seats open at the time of the lottery because not many families by that time know if they're moving away, if they have a job transfer. Sometimes there's family separations at the end of the school year where a child goes to live with one parent or another. Sometimes a child gets to a high school, so the child wants to go to the middle school on the campus with the high school, which is perfectly understandable. But please don't be worried if there's only kindergarten spots at the time of the lottery. The only other grade levels that we know are people who have told us, hey, we're moving, we're not coming back, whatever it may be. Those seats will be open. Everybody else will go on the wait list. The lottery runs, there's a preference given to children of staff and board members, which there are very few that are not here anyway. The next preference is given to siblings of currently enrolled children. So if you are on the wait list this year and you get a chance to come, we recommend that you come because then you are in and you have that spot already next year. And if one child gets in, but another child's on the wait list and you get in before the lottery, we always recommend that you take the spot now because then your child's sibling who's on the wait in the lottery gets admitted or gets drawn in that sibling section of the drawing. So even if they don't get into an open spot, they'll be near the top of the wait list. And so that's going to be a fun event. The lottery is live streamed for you. It'll be 2 o'clock on the 7th, but please make sure you have that application in. by the 28th. So that's where we're going to wrap up tonight. I see Jen answering lots of questions. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing in your pursuit of being here, joining us at Peak. If you want to sign up for a tour, we are doing tours. They are small groups. We do require that you be masked when you come in. We do require that you sanitize. We do ask you to limit it only to 2 people that are in your group. So just for the safety and wellness of others, we have families that are so excited that mom and dad come and they bring all the kids and they bring both sets of grandparents, which we love, love, love having everybody in the school, but we're trying to keep things as safe as we can. Those tours are during the school day. So you see things live as they're happening. So it's a really great opportunity. And then once you come in, you are good to go. I'm going to take a second and scroll through questions just to see if there's anything I can elaborate on. I see a great question about the tours. So we just talked about that. You can also schedule those online. Wonderful. CRT, wonderful question. Critical race theory is simply a theory or belief, just like a political belief of any part of the spectrum. We teach the standards that are part of the social studies curriculum. You can Google that, North Carolina Social Studies Standards or K-12 Social Studies Standards, and you can see what is taught at each grade level. CRT is not something that there's a book for, a video series for, unless it's something that's politically oriented. So just like some would argue that CRT leans very far one way, there's also teachings and indoctrination going on the other way. We stay out of it. It's not our purpose to teach beliefs. So we teach fact and we teach things that are associated with those facts that happened. So please reach out if you have any other questions, but that buzzword came up as more of a scare tactic in times of politics and in times of election, just like the 2022 elections that are coming and then the big ones in 2024. We're going to hear a lot about idealism that's associated with one party or the other. We stay out of it. We stay neutral. We teach fact. Good question about classes. We are fully virtual. We are fully in person. We don't offer virtual at this time. All of our students are back in person. We did teach virtual and a mix of in person and at home last year, but we are back. We are in person. Let's see. Good. You answered the question about number of students. Question about racial and demographics of our teachers. You're welcome to come take a tour. You're welcome to look around, but because that is certainly something that's identifiable about teachers, we invite you to the school to meet the teachers, see the teachers, but we don't rank or categorize one demographic over another, just like we don't tell other parents that may ask about a classroom, well, what's the racial mix in the classroom? We invite people to see that for themselves, and we respect and celebrate the diversity that we have in our school among our students. But also, I can tell you, we do have a very diverse staff, which we love. We love when students can see themselves reflected in the teachers who serve them at school. Question about the lottery. Thank you, Jen, for answering that. We do have a traditional school year. We usually start the third Thursday of August, so usually 2 days before the district starts. And the really important reason why we do that, we have 2 days. It's a Thursday, Friday. That's when your child will need to be at school. That's when school starts. And it's a really good way for you who are new families to learn the routines and the procedures and meet the teachers and meet friends. So we get rolling on Monday when the normal counties open up the last Monday of the month. We start the Thursday before. By starting those 2 days earlier, what it allows us to do, and you can look at our calendar on the website, we take the entire week at Thanksgiving off. So you not only have the weekend before and the weekend after, but all 5 days of Thanksgiving week, because I found in my 22 years that Monday, Tuesday before Thanksgiving, there's not a whole lot that really goes on. And you have a lot of students who are absent. And so we want to make sure we maximize the value of those 2 days. So we start the school year the Thursday before the last Monday of the month. We have very valid things going on those 2 days. And then we allow our families to be out that entire week, plus the 2 weekends. So this year it gave us a 10-day break instead of a 5-day break, which was super. We have a bell schedule. As I see Jen said, elementary is 8 to 3:15. Middle school is 8 to 3:30. Before school care is offered, it starts at 6:45. After school care runs to 6 p.m. There's a link on the website for that. Uniforms are required. Students wear them Monday through Thursday, unless we're doing a special Spirit Week activity like we're doing next week. Those are available. Also, click on our website. You can see all the information about calendar, before and after school care, the uniforms. Students in elementary school, there's a uniform top you need to purchase that's a unique color green to our school that you may have seen on our website, or students can always wear white. As the parent of a student who's here, I always recommend against white polo shirts because all students, including middle school students, have 30 minutes of recess every day and 30 minutes of lunch every day. So that's an hour opportunity that they can get their white shirt very filthy and dirty. And if your child is like mine, stains don't tend to come out of his white shirts really well. Also counting for pens and markers and pencil stains that get on them. So we always recommend purchasing the green shirt instead of a white shirt. Middle school students wear a heather gray shirt, and those are available online. The uniform bottoms need to be navy blue uniform bottoms, and those are available on the website, or you can purchase them from any uniform supplier, but the green shirt is a unique color. So see more information about that online. Oh, I just see as I'm scrolling, Jen put that information on there. Let's see. Class assignments will be released at open house. So we do have a meet the teacher day. It is the Monday before school starts, and you can log online that day into the parent portal, or you can come to the school and we'll identify your teacher for your child or children, or your teachers if your child's in third grade or above. And you have that opportunity to go through and meet the teachers, learn what you need to get for their classes, all that other fun stuff. Scrolling through again. Wonderful. Great question. Again, like politics and theology, we also don't teach sex education at school. That's for you as parents to teach as appropriate when you feel the time is right at home. Students do learn from the science curriculum about human biology and anatomy, but it is not graphic in any way and does not involve sexual reproduction. So. And I've pretty much scrolled through. So thank you so much for joining us. We're going to wrap things up. You are certainly welcome to email us at any time. I'm going to drop, if you don't have it already, I'm going to drop an email address. And the email address is now in the chat box. And mine is the same way, except for you replace her name with SPOND. And so that will work. And I'm looking through. I don't think I've missed any questions. Tom, adjusting an application, please email or call our registrar. Her name is Shauna Meyer. She can be reached at 919-377-1552, or you can send to the same email address, the 107 dot, and just type SMEYER at NHAschools.com. So perfectly fine. But yes, thank you for adding the apartment number, because if we accept a child and the mail gets returned, that child loses their seat because we don't have a valid address. So please absolutely give her a call or email her. She may be able to just do it over the phone and plug that in as long as the address is still valid. So I'm just checking other questions. There you are, Tom. That's Miss Meyer. And you can give her a call. Our office is always available. Let me drop our number in there as well. And we thank you for coming tonight. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up. We appreciate your being here. We always try to end within an hour, but we always stay to answer questions as well. And look forward to seeing you in person. We'd love to meet you. Please do come. If you come to those Q&A sessions, please respect social distancing from each other. CC's is now twice as big as it used to be when it was over in Beaver Creek. It's just about 2 miles up the road now, but it's a much bigger venue. And we look forward to meeting you. You can come in and ask those questions of us, general, or if you have things that are more specific, Jen or I can answer those for you, or we can direct you to somebody who can. So we're going to wrap things up. We thank you very much for being here and for wanting your family to join ours at Peak. It's a wonderful community. Jen's kids are here. My kids are here. Our dean's children are here that have school-age kids, and the majority of our teachers are here as well. So it's a a very happy family, and we're glad you're hoping to be a part of it. Have a great night. Happy holidays to you all. First Q&A is going to be in January. We have another one of these meetings as well, and we look forward to meeting you soon.